Hey y'all, it's JB, and oh boy. So, I want to give you a quick little content warning right off the top. I am going to be talking about self harm scars in this video. I'm not going to be talking about it in great detail or showing any pictures or anything like that, but it's a topic that's going to come up throughout this video. So if that's something that would be distressing for you for any reason, or if that would otherwise make you not want to watch this video, I just want you to know that ahead of time. So the very short version, if you do not want to watch the whole video, is just that my birthday is going to be tomorrow, June 7th. I'm turning 40, and also I have a lot of self-harm scars from years back that I have decided I want to get covered up finally with tattoos, and that's going to be expensive. So I decided that for my birthday, I wanted to do a little GoFundMe so that any of you who thought that you might want to contribute a few dollars to my tattoo fund as like a birthday gift. I'm so much more nervous talking about this than I thought I was going to be. Um, yeah, so for my birthday, I wanted to do this little GoFundMe thing, a little fundraiser um, towards my tattoo cover-ups for my self-harm scars. So that's what this video is going to be about. How's the light here? So many of you know that I have a long history with mental health issues, and I've come such a long way with them, thankfully, just through a lot of hard work and professional help. I've been in a relatively really good place for quite a while now, which I'm really thankful for. However, from years past, during periods where things were particularly bad for me, I do have quite a few scars in different places on my body from self-harm. I'm not going to show any photos or get into too many details about my scars. I am just going to say that mostly the worst of them are on my legs, my upper leg thigh area on both sides. And for a portion of the year, I'm able to hide them pretty easily. I do live in Texas, and as most of you probably know, it's quite warm here for most of the year. And after years of having these scars, some of them are older than others, they're just a difficult thing to be carrying around. Again, without showing photos or getting into too many details, I just want to say that they are very clearly I think to anyone who notices them, it's very clear that they were deliberate injuries. There's no passing these things off as like some kind of accident or something. So in a lot of situations, I've gotten pretty good about just doing my best not to care if people see them or if they judge me. But even doing that work to not be bothered or not be too self-conscious, it's still difficult for me. So if I'm in shorts or if I'm in a bathing suit or a short dress or something like that, it's something that I tend to feel anxious about. Are people going to see them? What are they going to think of them? And also I have 3 young children, and they're starting to get old enough that I worry about them seeing them and asking about them. That's definitely a conversation that I am very open to having with my children. Someday, I'm just not ready to have that conversation yet at this age. So the bottom line is that I decided I wanted to cover them up with tattoos. And this is something that I had gone back and forth with for years now, deciding whether or not I wanted to cover them up. You know, the cost is a difficult factor. For those of you who've gotten tattoos, you know that they can be quite expensive. And one of the things that was holding me back from deciding to get the tattoos was this mentality that, okay, Lola, this is something you did to yourself. This was, even though you were very ill when these happened, it was still a choice, and it's still a part of you and your life and who you are. And there was part of me that felt that I should just own that, and that covering them up would be almost like giving myself a pass on something that I still can be hard on myself for sometimes. That's not necessarily how I feel now. I'm just explaining why I've taken kind of years to get to this point where I decided to cover them up. I also thought that I should just do the work necessary to be comfortable with them and to not be ashamed of them. And that is something I've been working on over the years. But at some point I came to the realization that the mentality that I had behind feeling like I shouldn't cover them up, or feeling that it wasn't okay for me to spend that much money on covering them up, that was sort of a self-shaming, self-punishing mentality that was very similar to the headspace that I was in when I originally gave myself the scars. And once I realized that, that was kind of the moment when I knew that I needed to give myself permission to cover these things up. So again, I want to assure you all that I'm doing much better now. My self-harm scars are not something that I've really talked about publicly. I do have a couple other visible ones that people have commented on over the years. But for the most part, it's really not something I've talked about publicly. I feel incredibly vulnerable and anxious talking about it. But one of the things that makes me feel like I want to talk about it is knowing how many viewers I have who also have struggled with a whole variety of mental health issues. I'm sure there are at least some of you who've also struggled with self-harm tendencies. And even though this is primarily a fundraising thing, it also occurred to me that if me talking about this is helpful or comforting or inspiring or even normalizing for anyone out there who has similar scars and has felt a lot of shame about it, then if I could do that by talking about this, that's something I would feel thankful for. So yes, I have these scars. I've decided I wanted to cover them up. My 40th birthday is coming up. Right now it's Monday, June 6th. My birthday is tomorrow, Tuesday, June 7th. I'm turning 40. And since I had been thinking for a while about getting these tattoos and concerned about the cost of them, I decided that maybe I would do a little fundraiser so that any of my viewers or friends or anyone else who wanted to just put a few dollars towards my tattoo fund as like a birthday present. I actually am someone who, for most of my life, I have not made a big deal about my birthday. I even have a lot of anxiety about talking about my birthday because for years when I was younger, most of my friends didn't even know when my birthday was because I had this anxiety that if I even let people know when my birthday was, that would be like I was asking for presents, and that freaked me out and made me feel uncomfortable. So for years, I wouldn't even let people know when my birthday was. I'm doing better with that now and have been over the years. But my point is that for most of my life, I really haven't made a big deal about my birthday. But this year, it's obviously a big one, 40, and I decided that this year I wanted to give myself a lot more permission and a lot more leeway to celebrate my birthday and have fun with it and treat it as something special, and it's okay for me to celebrate myself and the fact that I'm still here, especially in light of how severe and awful some of my mental health problems have been over the years. Again, not to make this too dark, but I have gone through some really, really bleak times in my life with my mental health issues, and the fact that I'm still here to celebrate my 40th birthday is a really, really big deal to me. So I also want to mention that generally for a little while now, things in my life have been going really well. I feel really lucky. I feel really blessed. I felt anxious sharing about some of this stuff, because aside from generally mentioning over the years that I've struggled with mental health issues, I don't think, shared too many details about what that has looked like for me in the past. And I didn't want to make any of y'all worried, especially when it's a fundraiser related thing. I didn't want to frame this I didn't want to frame this in a way that would make any of you feel like you had to worry about me, or like you needed to donate money for me to be okay or something like that, because that is not the case. I want to be very clear that I am going to get these tattoos no matter what. I'm going to be perfectly fine if this fundraiser doesn't meet its goal or even make that much money. It's totally okay. I'm not going to be hurt. I know that there are so many reasons why people don't give to fundraisers. There are so many valid reasons why you might not want to. There are so many valid reasons why you might not be able to. Please don't feel like you have to explain. It's totally okay. I get it. I promise I'm really okay with it. I'm not going to be hurt or sad or feel any different about any of you if you don't give. I promise. However, the big difference is, I'm estimating that probably each of these tattoos on my legs, I'm going to show you a little quick image of kind of the general area that I'm going to need to cover. I'm estimating that each of the leg tattoos are probably going to be around $1,000. It could be a little bit less. It might be more. Those of you who've gotten tattoos know that the price can vary quite a bit based on a number of different factors. So $1,000 each kind of seemed like a safe mid-range guess, because I have quite a lot of area I need to cover on each leg. And also, it can't just be like a general outline thing. It's going to need to be pretty detailed and filled in to really cover up all the scarring. So even if not a single one of you gives us a single dollar, I promise I'm going to be fine. I promise I'm going to be able to get the tattoos anyway. It's just going to be a difference of how soon I can get them. If I'm able to fundraise the full amount, then I should be able to get both tattoos done this summer. If I'm not able to fundraise the money, then I'm still going to get the tattoos. It's just going to be more spread out probably over the next 2 or 3 years. So bottom line, if you feel inspired or called to give a few dollars to this little tattoo fund for my birthday, that would be so wonderful. I'd be so thankful. Really brighten up my day. But also, if you can't, it's fine. Please don't feel bad about it. This is just an opportunity that I wanted to offer as part of me celebrating my birthday and inviting you to celebrate it with me. Also, as many of you know, I did another fundraiser over a year ago to raise money for my recording booth, which I've been using for my videos, and which has enabled me to create much more regular content than I was able to for many years. And that was an amazing experience. So many of you gave, and you gave way above and beyond what I needed for the booth. And I was so thankful for that. And I did want to address that I understand that this particular fundraiser is different than that, because that was a situation where the people who were donating generally had something to personally benefit from it, because it was more specifically YouTube related, where the money you were donating was enabling me to make more content for you. Whereas this fundraiser that I'm doing for my tattoos is more of a personal thing. I would like to probably share some photos with y'all once I get the tattoos done. But beyond that, it's more of like a for me thing. So I also want to be clear that I understand that there's likely not going to be the same enthusiasm for this particular thing as there was for the booth, and that's totally fine with me. I'm expecting that. I'm comfortable with it. It's not going to make me feel like sad or bad or anything if this one doesn't really take off when the other one did so well. So I think that's about it. I think that's about all I have to say. I'm going to share a link to a GoFundMe that I've put together specifically for this fundraiser. I'm also going to share my PayPal address. So if for any reason any of you want to just donate toward my tattoo fund directly to my PayPal account, you can do that instead of going through the instead of going through the GoFundMe. I'm sorry, I'm still nervous and it's making me all mushy-mouthed. And I don't know if you could tell, I'm so nervous talking about this. I don't know why. I know I've had a few vulnerable talks with y'all over the years, and you've all always been so kind and supportive, beyond what I can even hope for. So y'all have never given me reason to be nervous opening up like this with you. It's a really personal thing. Even if you haven't been through it yourself, I'm sure you can imagine that it's kind of a personal and scary thing to talk about. So again, in summary, I have all these old self-harm scars that I have decided I want to cover up with tattoos. For my 40th birthday, I decided to do a little fundraiser for myself, for anyone who wants to throw a few bucks at me for my tattoo fund as like a birthday gift. I would be so touched and delighted if any of you contribute. I cannot emphasize enough how much I promise I will be okay if you don't. I feel so sensitive about these fundraisers, and it's really important to me that none of you ever feel pressured or manipulated or uncomfortable to give or to give beyond what's very comfortable for you. I love y'all, and I'm so thankful for your presence in my life. I'm so thankful for the opportunity that I have to be involved in your life in whatever way I am. And if you are still here watching this video, then thank you for hanging out this whole time. I am going to ask for any of you who are leaving comments in the comments section to just be aware of the context. If you're not super familiar with self-harm, or if it's something that you are going to talk about in the comments, please understand that, this isn't just something I deal with. Lots of other people struggle with this issue. So if you feel like you have something unkind that you really want to share about my fundraiser, please keep in mind that there are going to be other people in the comments who maybe struggle with this, who aren't me, who I don't want them to see that stuff. If you are someone who has struggled with self-harm and you want to talk about that in the comments, you're of course welcome to share or talk about that. I just want you to remember that I'm not a mental health professional, and that I can validate you and I can empathize with you, of course. But I'm not in a position to necessarily give you advice, or if you are personally in a crisis or something like that. I just want you to be prepared for the fact that if you are talking about a current self-harm issue that you're struggling with, I am most likely going to refer you to a person or to a group or something like that who is qualified to help. It's just I wouldn't feel right giving advice or anything like that, because as much as I'm someone who has a lot of personal experience, it feels like it would be reckless and irresponsible for me to try and give you personal advice for this. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay. So again, thank you for listening. Thank you for being patient with me as I awkwarded my way through this. I love you, and either way, we'll see you again soon with new videos, and thank you.